News, analysis, opinion.
The CDC is an agency that is very troubled.
I hope President Trump can do in Chicago what he's done in Washington.
You are neither wanted here nor needed here.
The people in this city are accustomed to rising up against tyranny.
Tyranny is when they shoot you and the person walks out of jail.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL. This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. #1 for live and local
conservative talk.
You can take these facts. I know for a fact. It's just about time.
It's not now. When?
Oh, there's just so much to say and not enough time to say it or do it.
I'm sorry. This is our country. This is the country that you and I love.
I'm kind of not surprised.
Man, that's what they need.
Very upset.
A lot of fear.
I agree with that, and well, who couldn't agree with it? It's a fact.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
We'll prevail.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Still looking for some more rain this afternoon into this evening and tonight. So we'll see some spotty showers and maybe a few thunderstorms as well. Additional rainfall should be a half inch or less for most areas, but some pockets could see more than that if you get a heavy thunderstorm roll right overhead. The high today in the mid 70s, about 75. Lows in the 50s on Thursday morning with a high of 77 and a dry day. The sun come back out and it stays out through the weekend. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
I am an atheist.
I really am a liberal.
But I'm also a conservative.
No matter your side,
I'm a Democrat.
I'm just a bit angry, frustrated conservative.
no matter your inclination,
I'm probably a liberal, maybe more in the middle.
we are here for your place to talk about it.
I'm the progressive liberal Democrat that you said is afraid to call you.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
I'm sure we'll have a robust conversation.
News Talk STL. This hour of Colombo Company brought to you by Gutter Pros. Water goes where we tell it. Call 314-656-7195 or visit them at gutterpros.com. When it's important to you,
what St. Louis is talking about,
it's on News Talk STL.
The CDC is an agency that is very troubled.
RFK Jr. shaking up the Centers for Disease Control.
I hope President Trump can do in Chicago what he's done in Washington.
You are neither wanted here nor needed here.
News, analysis, opinion.
The people in this city are accustomed to rising up against tyranny.
Tyranny is when they shoot you and the person walks out of jail.
101.9 and 94.1.
My talk station.
News Talk STL.
The time to rise has been engaged. We're better, best to rearrange. I'm talking here to me alone. I listen to the finest work song. Your finest hour.
Hello and welcome to Wednesday afternoon. Another rainy day. Haven't been able to say that very much over the last several months. Another rainy afternoon. Thank you for joining us here on Colombo and Company on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. I'm Tony Colombo in studio with producer Ashlyn. And we have for you today all the latest information from this shooting at the ICE facility in Dallas. We're going to get you up to speed on everything happening there. We have Jimmy Kimmel returning to television last night, getting very emotional on his first show back. We've got Trump at the UN. We've got Peter Strzok losing in court. Yeah, that was still going on somehow all these years later. We got the latest excuse from Kamala Harris. Like I said, I think it's going to be every day that there's going to be headlines about her new book and the blame game that she continues to play. So we've got all of that and more as we go through this busy Wednesday afternoon. And we've got a packed show to help break down all of it. We're going to have a little fun in the 3 o'clock hours. We always do on Wednesdays. About an hour from now, a little less than an hour from now, just after 3 o'clock, we're going to open up Close's Cabinet, talk to our buddy Mark Close from KC95 and Skip Weber from Weber Chevrolet. Also, this hour, we're going to talk to News Talk STL contributor Danny Define. He'll join us at about 2:40 this afternoon, and in about 15 minutes from now, 2:25ish, we're going to be joined by our Missouri political insider, Rodney Boyd. We need to get caught up on some of the statewide stories and issues of the day as well. So very much looking forward to that conversation with Rodney in a few minutes. And here to start the show with us to, again, help discuss, unpack, understand everything happening in this crazy news cycle is the great Stel Pontique as producer. Stel, babe, continuing to recover from double foot surgery, but always our intrepid reporter in the field on top of all the information and news that you need to know. Stel, great to talk to you, buddy. Thanks as always for your time.
Good afternoon, Tony. Good to be along with you and Ashlyn. It's been quite a week and a half, so yeah, we can jump in on some of this stuff if you'd like. Sure.
Yeah, we've got a lot to get to. How about, we haven't talked in a couple weeks, so before we jump in, a quick update on your recovery, because I tell you every time I get asked literally every day, how's Stel? Where? So give us the quick update.
Essentially, it comes down to my right foot is healing fine. My left foot still has some work in progress. So I have another, I guess it would be a outpatient surgery tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And that's for a bone biopsy on my left foot to make sure that nothing's going on that's untoward in that foot. Gotcha. So the doctors want to make sure everything's okay in there. I don't have any symptoms or anything like that, but they just want to make sure everything's going okay. So that'll be tomorrow afternoon. And then I do have a boot scheduled to arrive sometime in the next day or two for my left foot. So they want to try to keep the weight off of my left foot so that the wound and the injury in the middle of the foot can heal quicker. So that's essentially what it comes down to. So I appreciate all the prayers and support, and hopefully I'll see you guys sometime in the next few weeks.
Absolutely. And good luck with that tomorrow. And don't feel bad, Estelle. We are all a work in progress. So that's how it goes. Man, a lot of heavy news it's been a couple weeks. I was out most of last week, and with Stell out, it's been a while since we've caught up and had a chance to talk about the news. And obviously there's a lot of heavy stories to cover. Let's start with the Dallas ICE facility shooting today. So some of the latest details there: this gunman, Joshua John, killed two detainees and injured two others, is the numbers now, 2 injured and 2 killed after opening fire on the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility there in Dallas from a nearby building before taking his own life. This all according to police. The detainee who survived being shooting one of them is in the hospital in critical condition, according to officials. John fired indiscriminately at the ICE building as well as at a van in the Sally Port where the victims were shot. That, according to the Department of Homeland Security. Still, I think we've broken down most of the details here. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, but for me, and a lot of my thoughts are, and at least my immediate thoughts are, and a lot of the immediate reaction coming from people like Ken Paxton down there in Texas and Vice President J.D. Vance, this is just another example of how emboldened people have become, especially when it comes to carrying out violence against law enforcement agencies and specifically ICE, because this unfortunately is not an isolated incident, and it's very concerning. What are your what are your thoughts on what we saw unfold in Dallas today?
There's a couple of different aspects here. One thing that really does bother me, and you touched on it right there, is the commentary we're hearing from the left. For instance, last night on Colbert, Gavin Newsom was on there, and he continued his fear mongering with accusations of ICE disappearing people and doing all of this illegal stuff. And this went on during the show. And it's all fine when the left makes comments and everybody just sits along and agrees, because the audiences for Colbert and Kimmel and some of the other shows are predominantly leftist liberals, and I get that. But Gavin gets on there and he continues to stoke the fires. And then I'm just going to toss in one other personal aspect regarding the ICE issues, because I've been following the one in the Chicago area kind of closely, the one that's in Broadview. There's an ICE facility there, which is just west of Chicago. It's in the Maywood area, for folks who know the Collar County area of Chicago. Maywood's on the near west side, just outside the city limits. And they've had issues there at that ICE facility. And I saw a video the other day, and I think Mike, Gabe, and Jerome commented on this too, about seeing the video. The one I watched from Channel 32 up there, WFLD, had it looked like a helicopter shot, and there was a guy running through that crowd with a solid black flag. That's an Antifa flag. For folks who keep track of what flags Antifa uses when they're stoking something like some type of anarchy at an outdoor facility. That's one of their flags, and they're out there, and people just kind of ignore it, like, oh no, I don't see where Antifa is doing much of anything here. These are just people protesting. No, we have more than just folks from that area protesting. You've got paid protesters, and then you got the Antifa folks that are in there too. So, like you, I'm pretty miffed at the way the left has tried to push this narrative. And the fact is that we're trying to get illegal aliens out of the country, and they're the ones who allowed them in. So sorry, folks, but you guys opened the doors. At least Trump was able to close the door, but we've got, who knows, 30, 35 million of these folks in the country, and we're trying to get some of them out.
I'm glad you brought that up about Gavin Newsom, because I did not see that that sound, that highlight of him speaking on Colbert yesterday. But it doesn't surprise me, as we've seen this, and I think you're spot on here, Stel, that the rhetoric when it comes to what you're allowed to say or what is considered appropriate to say, there's two very different sets of rules, two sets of rules that aren't even, in the same ballpark of reality. And Gavin Newsom has been one of those. I mean, he's still actively trying to sue ICE agents and trying to, block them and trying to force them to not wear force them to show their faces and not be allowed to wear masks. I mean, he's in an all-out war, at least through legislation, or at least through litigation, I should say, against ICE. And we've seen this in the past. You remember when Donald Trump said that the election would be a bloodbath because he, in his confidence of winning, just using the term bloodbath as an example of a landslide victory, and how he was called out. And this is, there's many examples of this. There was the map that was posted, I think it might have been during the 2020 election, by a Republican candidate who put crosshairs over areas that they thought they could flip a seat or whatever. And people say, oh, Donald Trump is literally calling for a bloodbath, or this person is literally calling for, gun violence by using crosshairs on a map to identify the places that, that Republicans should be actually just targeting, election wise, and, called out for that. However, you have Gavin Newsom last night on Colbert, as you explained, accusing of accusing a law enforcement agency, a federal law enforcement agency, of making people disappear. I mean, how that could mean, that could mean anything. That could be, saying that, that they are moving them, they're murdering them. I mean, that's, and it's intentionally vague, I think, to scare people and to stir up and Nancy Pelosi using the term righteous anger when discussing, violent protests that we've seen in the past, to give a pass and make an excuse for people like that. Maxine Waters, instructing people, if you see a Trump supporter in a restaurant or, out in a store, to make a ruckus, make a scene, shout them down.
Sure, and Jasmine, go
Jasmine
ahead. Crockett, toss her in there too.
Yeah, absolutely. Just going out there and giving cover to people that are sick enough to carry out violence in this way, and then they don't call it out. And I think that's exactly why we are seeing more and more of what we saw today in Dallas. And it was just a couple weeks ago that there was another similar attack on a facility not far from that one in Dallas. I mean, this is something that is that is happening more and more. And I definitely think there is something to the cover that they have been given on the national platform by Democrats and certain members of the media. And, they'll call out Donald Trump for using the term bloodbath and taking it, and, they'll take it out of context and try to blame him for stoking violence, when they're out there literally saying, cause a scene, shout them down, defending or calling for conflict, at least at some level. I don't know. I think that whole atmosphere that has been created has a big influence on why we're seeing things like we did today.
And much of that atmosphere is created and exacerbated by legacy and mainstream media, which I'm going to stop calling them mainstream media, because they're not mainstream anymore. I think there's so many other forms of media that are out there that people are accessing, that mainstream media doesn't have the dominance that it once had. But still, folks consider it mainstream media, whether it's print or on air. These guys are stoking those fires, and they're not pulling back at all. So no matter what we may say about trying to turn the rhetoric down, they don't seem to understand that, and they continue to focus on keeping that rhetoric hot. And now you've got situations like this in Dallas. You got the one in Chicago. I'm sure we're going to see it at other ICE facilities. Golly, look at Portland. That's been going on there for months.
We talked about that yesterday. I might expand on that further a little bit later on in the show. But yeah, I mean, just unapologetically anti-ICE, pro-immigrant, defending criminals. I mean, it's out of control what they're doing in Portland. And as I said yesterday, if they're doing it in Portland, don't relax because you think things are better. Things are better at the border, and things are better with immigration in general. But there's a long way to go, and there are still a lot of people fighting hard on the other side. So that's why we report on things like, the Portland city council making rules and changes to that their sanctuary city policies, because it's important to know that those, that those beliefs are still very strong in some places around this country.
Yep.
Before we let you go, still talking to producer Stell babe. Before we let you go, any thoughts on the return of Jimmy Kimmel last night? He cried. He got emotional.
Well, I'll give you my really quick response, because I know we're kind of short on time. He never apologized.
No, he didn't.
He lied on the air. He accused a MAGA supporter of assassinating Charlie Kirk, which, by the way, was 2 weeks ago today, was it not? It was 2 weeks ago today. He never said, I'm sorry for saying that. He just said, well, if you didn't agree with me, well, that wasn't my intention to make light of it. I'm sorry. That's not an apology. So I'm still holding him to that. And I don't care what other folks say about, well, that that was his way of saying he was sorry. No, when you need to apologize, you need to come out and say, I'm very sorry. I shouldn't have said that. We need to move on from this. And I apologize for saying that. I would at least accept that as maybe some form of sincerity, which I didn't hear last night. Everything was about him last night with, well, I'm sorry, you just didn't really understand. You know, the 61 of his 63 guests since September of 22 have been liberals. So it's pretty obvious what stance he takes.
Yeah.
And okay, that's fine. But still, I'm sorry, we needed an apology. And the other thing is, you know, he did acknowledge Erica's comment about forgiving the shooter. But you know what? There's a difference between compassion and forgiveness, which we saw from Erica, which was hugely emotional, and then justice, which we need to see in this case.
Yeah.
And so I'm just saying, Jimmy, sorry. I was looking for an apology and you didn't give it.
Yeah, I agree. And I also completely agree that it was disingenuous, despite the fact that he was emotional. And actually, if you look back in his history, this is kind of one of his moves. He is to like cry on the air whenever he's in a little bit of hot water. So I think it's kind of, I don't know. I'm not buying it as authentic emotion when I see it. And I'll play the sound a little bit later on in the show. Because to your point, Stell, what he said in that non-apology wasn't even true. He tried to rewrite history about what he said last week on the air and tried to claim that he was taken out of context or mischaracterized. And that's just not true at all. So his non-apology wasn't even honest.
And speaking of honesty, let's look back quickly on his history of making fun of folks who lost their jobs because they said something that the left couldn't stand, whether it was Roseanne Barr or Megyn Kelly, et cetera. There's a list of folks that he made fun of over the years. But now when the ball's in his court and he realizes, oh, gee, it's me. Now he just glosses over it. Sorry, it doesn't work that way, Jimmy.
Exactly right. Stell Ponticus, the great Stell Babe, producer Stell, still recovering from double foot surgery, but always on top of the headlines. Thank you, Stell, for joining us, for sharing your insight this afternoon and continued recovery, and hope to talk to you again soon, my friend.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks, Tony.
You bet. That is producer Stell Ponticus here on Colombo and Company. We're going to shift gears and get caught up on some of the local news and issues of the day. You know, we had that special session, redistricting and IP reform, but with all the headlines happening nationally, we haven't really followed up. And what's the latest happening across the state of Missouri and in our St. Louis area? So we are going to do that with our Missouri political insider, Rodney Boyd, who joins us next.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. News, analysis, opinion.
It almost seems common sense, but, you know, alas, common sense isn't so common these days.
News Talk STL.
Grasser Electric is the team to call if you have any electrical needs or projects coming up at your home or your business. That is the beauty of Grasser Electric, is they specialize in all of your electrical needs. So whether it is a large scale commercial project or a simple home service need like replacing a bad light switch, Grasser Electric can do it all. And we've had Grasser in our home multiple times. Haven't had a large scale commercial project, but have had several different issues ranging from smaller issues to definitely bigger problems. And I can tell you from personal experience that the techs at Grasser Electric are just absolutely second to none. They are exactly the kind of people that you want and that you can trust when they come into your home or your business to work on something as important as your electrical needs. They also offer free quotes for new projects. So if you have an electrical problem or just need a quote for new work, contact Grasser Electric now. Learn more and contact them through the website grasserelectric.com.
Hey, folks, it's Jamie Allman here for the Walner Home Selling team of Berkshire Hathaway. I love this team so much, and Rodney and Jen love the team so much, I became a member. So now I'm an agent with the Walner Home Selling team of Berkshire Hathaway, and I can tell you, as a matter of fact, that we're going to get you into a home really super easily and with the lowest cost you're ever going to find, and make sure we find you that dream home. We're also going to list your home and get the top dollar for your home. I'm telling you, Rodney and Jen love this business. You can tell it is infectious, and I'm so happy to be a real estate agent there with them. 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD. Whether you are buying your home or selling your home, I'm telling you what, the costs are going to be absolutely totally minimal, but the professionalism and getting the job done for you is going to be 100%. The Walner Home Selling team of Berkshire Hathaway, 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD.
You've worked hard for your money, so protect it. Meet my friend Bob Leslie and ask about the Gain and Retain plan. Leslie Consulting, 40 years in the St. Louis area as a leader in brokerage and risk management. Call 314-721-0066, 721-0066. Oh, and ask Bob how he was the LA Dodger #1 pick. LeslieConsulting.com.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
I have a special host for you today. Elizabeth Kaiser of Straight Lines will be hosting Larry Connors USA.
Larry Connors USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Give me a second, I need to get
Welcome back to Colombo and Company on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. We will have our Missouri political insider, Rodney Boyd, on the line in just a moment. Want to quickly remind you that the best way to make sure that you never miss anything that happens here on Colombo and Company is to subscribe to our podcast, because we put this show out as a podcast right after we get off the air every day, and we put it on basically every podcast platform. So wherever your favorite place to get podcasts is on that platform, make sure that you are subscribed to Colombo and Company, and you'll never miss anything that happens here on the show. You can also get the podcast on our website, newstalkstl.com. Just go to the Colombo and Company show page, or through our app, the News Talk STL app, which is absolutely free in the Google Play Store and the App Store. And the best way to listen to the station crystal clear, no matter where you are. And again, you can get all the show podcasts there through the app as well, and directly linked to all of our social media platforms. So definitely a very helpful tool there as well. All right, I think we have Rodney on the line with us now. It's been a couple weeks and got some stuff to catch up on. So it's always great to have our Missouri political insider, Rodney Boyd, on the line. Rodney, thanks for your time as always, my friend.
Good to be with you. Good to be with you. I'm walking out of an event over at the Ritz-Carlton that it's a byproduct of some of the stuff we were talking about with Rwanda.
Oh, very good.
We're at the World Trade Center, had their 2025 Growing Global annual luncheon, about 800 people. And the theme this year was opportunities, both demand and supply side, with places in Africa, Nairobi, and Rwanda were the highlighted places. And it was an interesting discussion because, you know, everybody in the room, people were just talking on the way out about how much they didn't know about just the real opportunities, but the eyes are opening up to real opportunities. So I know we've talked about that a few times. I've had some good conversations with the governor about it, and I think we're moving in the right direction to really build out some of these economic opportunities. And it's interesting because President Trump was just talking when he was in London, actually, about the work his administration did to broker a border peace treaty between Rwanda and the Congo, and how he thought that was a big accomplishment to move economic opportunities from the U.S. to that part of the world. So it's all interesting timing, how these things are all sort of lining up.
Yeah, this is, and as we've talked about in the past, this is just an excellent opportunity. And I appreciate the update, and please, always keep us updated as this develops. But, this relationship, this building relationship where the state of Missouri can supply, goods and services to Rwanda and fill a need for them and be an economic growth revenue stream for the state of Missouri. It's awesome. So please keep us updated as that as this project continues to evolve and hopefully grow.
Yes.
Talking to Rodney Boyd, only got a few minutes here, and it's been a couple weeks since we've had a chance to talk. So just to sort of catch up, I don't think we've talked since maybe right after the end of the special session. So we have the redistricting issue and the IEP reform issue now finally resolved in Missouri, and we're looking forward now to the new legislative session that starts in January. Where are we as far as the political season in Missouri right now? Are we on hold until we get to January, or is there still action happening after this special session?
Listen, I mean, look, the special session was very, very intense, tackling two of the most significant issues that I've ever seen tackled. Mid-decade redistricting, top of mind, but also one that you and I have been talking about for probably since we've been talking about the initiative petition process, and that got done too. These are significant,
yes,
heavy lifts, right? And now they're on the other side of them. So what's interesting now is there's conversations about legal challenges to the redistricting. I haven't heard any legal challenges to the idea of the initiative petition process, which is significant. I mean, the bar now.
I'm surprised by that.
Me, I am too, because the bar now to amend the Constitution, you know, Missouri used to be one of the lowest bar states, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, close to California and Denver. I think we may now have moved it to one of the more challenging states. So before people decide they want to change the Constitution, there's a lot of thought and strategy now that has to be deployed. So we'll see what happens on the legal front on the redistricting. I suspect there'll be a number of legal challenges. We'll see what the courts do or don't do. But then for the most part, you know, we do go into sort of thinking about the next session and what's left, right? I mean, last session, there were some big issues tackled as well. And I think one of the things that keeps trending that hasn't been tackled is some of the tax issues. I mean, last session, there were some things done on capital gains tax, but not the personal property tax, some of the other big issues. So I think you're going to see a lot around that, and then some real conversations, you know, about the budget, because the budget is going to have to do a lot more with less than we've ever had to do. I think in all my time in Jeff City, just as an observer, I don't think that we've had a session like the one we're going to have where the state's going to have to make some significant budget cuts. And we'll see how all that plays out. But I think property taxes and budget issues are going to really dominate a lot of, you know, what we're talking about in Jefferson City going into next session. And neither of those are going to be fun or pleasant conversation. But
Never is.
Know, you look at this Kehoe administration, which has only been in office now for 9 months, and just the sort of the gravity of the things that they've worked on and literally gotten done goes back to the point that you've talked about in years past. Hey, what does it mean to have Republican supermajorities if we're not getting the big, hard, heavy things done? And now those big, hard, heavy things are getting done. And it's going to be interesting to see if that momentum carries forward. You know, the special session has some casualties. You know, we had a Senate Appropriations Chair, which is one of the more powerful positions in the building, and always has been, who lost his chairmanship because he voted against the two priorities and seemed to say when confronted that this is what he thought was in the best interest of his constituency. I have never seen in my career a Senate Appropriations Chair removed. Not saying it hadn't been done sometime in the past. So that was a significant, interesting outcome. And we'll see what kind of message that sends going into next session as well. So it has been a very, very, for the Republican majority, a very substantive first 9 months.
Productive. And that's a word that hasn't been able to be applied to the legislative body in the state of Missouri in a while, but it has been recently. And it's a good reminder. And I know we got to go, Rodney, so we'll wrap it up here, but and we'll catch up, more next week. But it is a good reminder that, for somebody like me who's so used to, harping on IP reform year after year, it's like, okay, well, now what do we focus on? It's a good reminder that there's still plenty of work to be done in the state of Missouri. And hopefully this momentum, as you said, does carry on into the session. Rodney Boyd, our Missouri political insider, always appreciate your time, my friend, and look forward to talking to you again soon. Have a great rest of your day.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. All right. We are going to jump back into some of the national headlines of the day. I'm going to play that Jimmy Kimmel sound for you. Also, an update on what's happening with Donald Trump at the UN and more as we continue the conversation with News Talk STL contributor Danny Define next.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
I know you're trying to forget, but between the drinks and subtle things, the holes in my pocket.
News, analysis, opinion.
Historic meeting between European leaders, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and President Trump.
We want to stop the killing, get this settled.
1019 and 94.1.
We'll want peace.
News Talk STL.
Looking for an underwater adventure or a scaly new friend? Dive into Tropical World Pets on Watson Road. For 32 years, this family-owned wonderland has been St. Louis's go-to destination for all things aquatic and reptilian. With over 7,000 square feet of aquariums, we're home to the area's largest selection of freshwater fish, including rare cichlids you won't find anywhere else. But that's not all. We've got tarantulas, snakes, and lizards galore. Tropical World Pets, 314-849-4020, or visit twpstl.com.
Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor. Connor Roofing is now a two-time winner of the National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction for roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. Please visit connorroofing.com for an estimate. And remember, you can count on Connor.
Hi, Kirk Hilsinger here, and I'm the new chairman of the St. Louis Republican Central Committee. I invite you to our meetings that take place the first Thursday of every month at 3710 Hampton Avenue. You can stay connected with us to learn more about how you can get involved, make your voice heard, and contribute to our shared goals. Together, we can make a difference in the city of St. Louis and the state of Missouri. For more info, visit our new website at stl-gop.com. That's stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC, Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
This hour of Colombo Company brought to you by Gutter Pros. Water goes where we tell it. Call 314-656-7195 or visit them at gutterpros.com.
The city streets are empty now. The lights don't shine no more.
Thanks again to our Missouri political insider, Rodney Boyd, for joining us in that last segment. Make sure you're subscribed to our podcast in case you missed that conversation. It's the best way to make sure you never miss anything that happens here on the show. Now we continue with News Talk STL contributor Danny Define is on the line with us. And Danny, as always, no shortage of things to talk about. And as always, also appreciate your time this afternoon, my friend.
Likewise, always good to be here with you, Tony. And yeah, you are spot on. There is a ton of headlines to get to. There's never enough time here, but we're going to try to make it work.
We are. I want to play. I want to play the Jimmy Kimmel sound, and I want to talk to you a little bit about Jimmy Kimmel. So we'll get to that in just a moment. But first, I wanted to start with Trump at the UN, and specifically focusing on the war in Ukraine, because this is something you and I. That's one of the issues that you and I have talked extensively about over the last several months. So I wanted to get your thoughts on this. So Donald Trump is speaking with the UN, and yesterday he addressed the war in Ukraine. This was right after Zelensky had also spoke about the war there at the UN, and Trump said that he does not believe that Ukraine will have to give up any land, any territory to end this war, which is kind of a different a different signal than we have heard in the past. And today, the Kremlin has reacted to that. So the Kremlin today rejected President Donald Trump's statement that Ukraine can win back all territory lost to Russia as a mistake that was made due to the influence of Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky. So just to get everybody up to speed here, and then I want to get your thoughts on this, Danny. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters today that Trump's statement did not line up with Russia's understanding of the war's dynamic, saying, quote, "As far as we understand, President Trump's statements were made after communicating with Zelensky and apparently under the influence of a vision set out by Zelensky. This vision contrasts sharply with our understanding of the current state of affairs." So what Trump said at the UN yesterday specifically was, quote, "I think Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, is in a position to fight and win all of Ukraine back in its original form. With time, patience, and the financial support of Europe, and in particular NATO, the original borders from where this war started is very much an option." Peskov, the Kremlin spokesperson, said that view, that standpoint is a mistake, saying, quote, "The fact that Ukraine is being encouraged in every possible way to continue hostilities and the argument that Ukraine can win something back is, in our view, a mistaken argument. Dynamics on the front lines speak for themselves," unquote. So, doesn't sound like we're making progress when you hear Russia react so strongly to the statements of the president at the UN yesterday. How does all of that hit you? And as far as, your feelings of, are we getting further away from peace? Because it felt like for a while there we were getting closer, and now I'm not so sure. What do you think?
Yeah, I really, Tony, in this world or any other world in the universe, I really don't see how it would be possible for Ukraine to take back any of that territory that Russia has taken from them without massive increases in funding from NATO, from the United States, possibly even having troops assist in that if they really are trying to reclaim this territory that Russia has taken from Ukraine. Those kind of statements to me are a bit concerning, because this seems like an escalation and, quite frankly, something that just is out of the realm of possibility, unless, like I just mentioned, there's a massive increase in funding from NATO, from the United States. There's resources such as tanks and planes and possibly even ground troops. So the big thing about Donald Trump, it was no new wars and let's focus on America first. That's the whole objective, right, of the MAGA movement, or that was the whole theme of the MAGA movement. So when I hear things like that, and then I don't know if you caught that interview last week when he was talking about the Bagram Air Force Base in Afghanistan, and Trump mentioned in an interview, very bad things will happen to Afghanistan if we don't get control of that, and even mentioned bringing troops back to Afghanistan. And then you see what's going on with the attacks in Venezuela for these different gangs down there, and of course the Middle East with Palestine and Israel. So he claims that he's the no new war president, and also said, this Russia-Ukraine situation will be done before I'm sworn in January. But then he makes these kind of comments, whether it's Afghanistan or whether it's about Ukraine and Russia. So for me, as an America First kind of guy, that's what I voted for 3 times, by the way, with Donald Trump. It doesn't really sit great with me, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I line up with you more than the other side. But one thing that did strike me as interesting in his statement is, and I don't know that this is the case or not, but he highlighted, multiple times he emphasized European nations and specifically NATO, almost like he's pushing the responsibility onto those nations and and leaders to say, hey, if you want Ukraine to win and you don't want them to have to give up any territory, you're going to have to kick in here and do your part. I don't know that was that was the intent of his message, but I could definitely see it being read that way. And I'm with you. I don't want this to continue on anymore. I think we've already sent too much money, too many resources. I don't want to give Vladimir Putin a victory. I'm not saying that in any way, but we need to figure out a way to get this to end this quicker, not drag it out. But if that's the case, if we're trying to force the rest of the world to pick up some of the tab and get that responsibility off the United States in that situation, then I would be for this. But that remains to be seen if that is something that he is going to enforce.
Exactly. It remains to be seen. And again, that is such a lofty goal to have Ukraine take that territory back that Russia has accumulated over the last 2.5 years. It just, to me, at face value, seems out of the realm of possibility unless there was a major ramp up through NATO with the assistance of the United States. And then one thing, Tony, while we're talking about this, the UN and what Trump said the other day on stage talking about globalism. So a quote that Donald Trump made just the other day at the UN conference, he was talking about what makes the world so beautiful is each country is unique. To stay this way, we have to have sovereign nations, and they must have the right to control their own borders. Proud nations must be allowed to protect their communities and prevent their societies from being overwhelmed by people they've never seen before with different customs and religions, which I 100% agree with that statement. And I give Donald Trump credit because he has done an excellent job at the southern border, whittling that down to almost zero border crossings, which is fantastic. However, and I'm going to keep saying this till I'm blue in the face, the mass deportations, we are falling so short of where it needs to be. Donald Trump right now is on pace for roughly 800,000 deportations this year. So you look at a 4-year administration and you're talking a little less than 3 million or somewhere in that ballpark. So compared to the 40 million plus illegals that we have in this country already, he's doing a great job with the southern border. But what about the people that Joe Biden let in the last 4 years? Until those deportation numbers ramp up and we can start deporting all of these people that have flooded into our country, I just can't get too excited about what he says at the UN about having sovereignty and not having these foreign invaders come in that don't share our religion or our culture. That's great, Donald, but what are we doing about the massive number of illegals that are in the United States right now?
No, I think you're right. I think it has been. I agree with you. And like you said, we talked about this.
Of that,
go ahead.
Tony, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
On top of that, what really bothered me, and I didn't want to turn this into a bashing session here on Trump, but I just have to call it out. On Friday last week, there was this huge announcement from the Oval Office about H-1B visas. And you had Trump there at the Resolute desk, and then you also had Howard Lutnick saying in front of reporters that this new H-1B visa program, we are going to charge individuals or companies $100,000 per year to renew their H-1B visa license, which at the time sounded amazing. I was thrilled by that announcement because that means you're not going to have all of these H-1B visa workers that are able to stay in this country and take jobs away from Americans. But then Caroline Leavitt the next day walks it back on Twitter and says, I know what was said yesterday at the Oval Office, but just to clarify, this does not apply. This $100,000 fee does not apply to current H-1B visa holders, and it's not every single year renewal for that $100,000. It'll just be a one-time fee for new H-1B visa workers. So to me, that just seemed like a moment of betrayal, and I was very disappointed. And it's not just me, but millions of Americans, because, again, you have all of these foreign workers that are coming in on H-1B visas that it was created in the early 90s, right, to get cheap labor in the country and fill some of these jobs in healthcare and the tech sector. But it's completely gone off the rails, the H-1B visa program, for what it was intended to be. In my opinion, it is completely taking up jobs that could have been that could have been filled by Americans
Yeah.
and people here that are natives to this country. And it was just very disappointing to hear one thing on Friday, and then the press secretary comes out the next day, less than 24 hours later, and says, no, that $100,000, that's just for new H-1B visa applicants. And that's just a one-time fee. It's not a year-over-year reoccurring fee to renew your H-1B visa. So I just had to say that, because that to me was just very misleading. And I was, like I said, I was celebrating it. I'm like, this is one of the best moves the Trump administration has made. And then to walk it back like that within 24 hours, it really felt like a slap in the face. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I understand that, and I agree that it was not the game-changing announcement that maybe we felt like it was. But I think you're spot on about the how slow the deportation process has been, and at least with the H1, at least with the visa program, that's a legal program. Where's the focus on removing these people that are here illegally, and that express lane that we thought was going to be put into place. Danny, before we run out of time, I gotta ask you. It's easy to get real worked up and angry about the news today, and sometimes you just need to sit down at night and turn on the television and just watch a funny program and relax. Are you glad Jimmy Kimmel's back?
Oh, I am thrilled, Tony. You know me. I'm Jimmy Kimmel's #1 fan. I love the fake crocodile tears. This guy, he is such. I know we're on the radio right now, so I can't say what I really want about the guy, but he just has a face that just really makes my stomach turn. Just his presence alone, just looking at him, he's so fake. He's such a hypocrite. He has this half-ass apology the other night where he's doing the fake tears and trying to walk this back. And it's like, Jimmy, we've all seen your clips the last 10 years. We all know what you've said about the right, about conservatives, about flaming these different violent kind of rhetoric towards conservatives, towards anybody in the Trump cabinet. So just save it, Jimmy.
Just save it.
The guy.
And it wasn't even a suspension. It was a long weekend. I mean, the punishment wasn't even. I mean, good for Sinclair Broadcast Group and Nexstar for continuing to not air the show. But it is.
If the people on the left cared as much about Charlie Kirk getting assassinated in front of a live audience as they did with Jimmy Kimmel going off the air for a few days, that'd be refreshing to see that, but they just don't feel the same.
Danny Define, thank you as always for your time. Keep it here. We're going to open Closest Cabinet next.
Hi, it's Ken Williams, and my favorite Capriati sandwich is the Capistrami. You've got hot pastrami, melty Swiss cheese, crunchy coleslaw, and zesty Russian dressing. What else do you need? I love Capriati's, and you will too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint, formulated to outsmart the elements. Rain or shine, sleet or snow, mold or mildew. Our home exterior coatings intelligently designed to stand up to Mother Nature. Call 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Jamie Allman here, and I want you to hide out with me 10 minutes south of 270 in Gravois at the wonderful Hideout, the best burgers you're going to find anywhere in the land, and yet people still eat Dave's Chili right there at 90-degree temperatures. Music every day, it seems, people, on the weekends especially, and dinners and lunch served every single day of the week. The coldest beer and the best staff you're going to find, the Hideout right there in High Ridge.
Hey, DIY warriors, ready to transform your outdoor space? Start with Lee May Concrete Block, St. Louis's trusted family-owned manufacturer since 1947. Whether you're building a retaining wall, creating a backyard fireplace, or pouring concrete, Lee May's got you covered. From compact blocks to large cast concrete, they provide materials and professional guidance to bring your vision to life. Military and first responders get special discounts. Visit Lee May Block Showroom or LeeMayBlock.com. Lee May Block, building your dream one block at a time.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship, the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm John Scott. From Dallas, Texas, an early morning shooting, 2 ICE detainees dead, the shooter taking his own life. At a news conference, Senator Ted Cruz says this is the third shooting in Texas, directed at ICE or Customs and Border Patrol.
This must stop. To every politician who is using rhetoric, demonizing ICE and demonizing CBP, stop. To every politician demanding that ICE agents be doxxed and calling for people to go after their families, stop. This has very real consequences.
The suspect has been identified as 29-year-old Joshua John. The FBI says it was investigating the shooting as an act of targeted violence. Ukraine President Zelensky spoke from the podium of the United Nations Assembly Chamber. That was a day after he met with President Trump, who expressed support for Ukraine's efforts. The president said he believed Ukraine could win back all territory lost to Russia. The planned reopening of Camp Mystic in Texas confirmed.
27 campers and counselors were killed at the all-girls camp during catastrophic floods. The area of the camp along the river that was destroyed by floodwaters will not be part of that reopening. Only the part of the camp that was not damaged will resume welcoming campers. There are now new, tougher camp safety laws in Texas that prohibit cabins in dangerous parts of flood zones and require camp operators to develop detailed emergency plans. Money was also allocated for warning sirens and improved weather forecasting. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Lower close on Wall Street. All three major indexes down 0.3%. More at townhall.com.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
War in the Middle East, the revival of an ancient conflict recorded in the Bible.
The nation of Israel is a resurrected nation. So what if there was going to be a resurrection of another people, an enemy people of Israel?
Dinesh D'Souza's new film, The Dragon's Prophecy, is in theaters 2 nights only, October 6th and 8th.
We came back to a land that was largely barren and empty, and we brought it back to life, and we're going to keep it.
Tickets not sold in theaters. Get tickets only at thedragonsprophecyfilm.com.
A powerful.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Still a chance for a few scattered showers through the evening. Overnight, though, will dry out. So in the morning, for the morning drive, partly cloudy, dry, and a little cooler low of 60 degrees. A high of 77, partly to mostly sunny skies. Thursday, a few clouds just bubble up in the afternoon, but it's a dry day, and we'll see some sunshine. More sunshine, though, on Friday. Sunny skies and a high of 80, and that's a warming trend that takes us into the weekend. Saturday and Sunday, highs around 83 to 84 with plenty of sunshine. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Fox News commentary.
College tuition is skyrocketing, and some college students are finding, let's just say, creative ways to pay it. I'm Tommy Laren. More next.
I'm alpine skier Michaela Schifrin. I've won the most World Cup ski races in history. But what does success mean to me? Success means discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us. And it's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. If you're looking for success, surround yourself with the people who will get you there. If you're an advisor or investor, choose Stifel, where success meets success.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated. Member SIPC and NYSE.
Past performance is no indication of future results. Investing involves risk. Consult a financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
Ain't cheap, and it's not getting more affordable anytime soon. And you know what they say, desperate times call for desperate measures. Enter OnlyFans. Reports show students are raking in thousands a month by selling adult content online. In the U.S., OnlyFans creators jumped from 350,000 in 2019 to over 4 million in 2023. Across the pond, a UK survey found 22% of students had tried it, with some earning enough to cover their degrees in full. That kind of cash is certainly enticing, but I'd remind these young people that the internet is forever and quick cash is great, but at what cost? Sure, a part-time restaurant or retail job is a lot more work for the paycheck, but there is virtue in an honest day's work that doesn't involve selling your body. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
No big old corporate lib AM station telling us what to say here. Conservative talk for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL. Time to open up Close's cabinet and talk to our buddy Mark Close from KC95. Marker, are you there?
I am there, my friend. How you doing?
Great to talk with you. It has been a couple weeks. I was out last week moving my daughter home, and so it's been a while since we've opened Close's cabinet. Great to talk with you. And of course, the sponsor of Close's cabinet is Weber Chevrolet, and Skip Weber is on the line with us as well. Skip, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
So for the first time, maybe ever, we don't have any the opening song doesn't have any relevant any part of the conversation here. So I don't know how to start the conversation when we don't have music news to talk about. So I'll just dive right in. I want to start with
Tony, I have to say, it's been so long, I wasn't sure I had the right number. When that song started playing, I thought I was maybe at Victoria's Secret instead of Close's class.
It started with a little Beethoven.
I thought I opened the wrong door.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, the closet's been renovated since the last time we talked. But I want to tell a quick story and also a compliment to Skip, you and your team, and Weber Chevrolet and Chevrolet, I think, in general. We're out last week moving my daughter home. It was the first time that I had ever experienced a cross-country move like this, because when she moved down there, it was just supposed to be for 6 months with the college program. So it was, a couple of suitcases and moving into a fully furnished dorm, and, there was no furniture involved. It was just driving her down there, dropping her off. Since then, of course, she stayed, had an apartment, got a fiance. We had a lot of things. And so coming back, it was, all of the furniture and everything. So this was a first for us. And the entire time that she was gone, those 3 years, let's just say that vehicle maintenance was not apparently at the top of her list. So now that she is home with her Chevy Spark that we got from Weber Chevrolet several years ago, not only did that thing survive 3 years of neglect. Yeah. It is currently up at the Creve Coeur Service Department, where the guys are taking care of the vehicle and getting it back up to tip top shape. So I am glad and thankful that vehicle was able to be reliable for her that entire time that she was down there. And I was the one who was blessed enough to be able to, I was the one who got to drive it home, which was an experience. 1,000 miles driving in a Spark. So, so thank you to you and your team. Yeah, just couldn't be happier with that vehicle and the way it has soldiered through.
Well, I am super glad that it's worked out for you. It's not necessarily the way you should always do things, but it's, it sounds like that she's got it all handled, so that's good.
We're getting it all fixed up and back to working condition, and we're ready to roll. Margaret, did you guys when Beaner moved to California, did you have to go through the whole was it a big move, or was it like when we moved our daughter down, just a couple of suitcases, not furniture and everything else? Because I'll tell you what, the cross-country move has been a lot.
Yeah, no, it's actually Beaner went down right after college. She found a roommate, a gal online. She knew nobody in Los Angeles, and went down, found this gal, and worked it out. Skip helped us buy a Chevy Cruze at an auction house out there. It's a great story, and I know it told us to Skip. We go out, we're going to get a Chevy Cruze. Skip's help work it all out, and appreciate that. We go to this auction house in Riverside, California, which is big, and it was the biggest. I mean, this had to be on a couple 100 acres. So we walk in, and there's guys buying 200-300 cars at a time, and I walk up and I have one. I'd like one, please. And the guy goes, okay, you need to go down to a different location. It's 3/4 of a mile away from here. He goes down there. He goes, okay, we did everything, worked it out. He gives it the keys, and he goes, okay. He goes, your Cruze is outside the door to that side. I walked out. There was 200 Cruzes sitting there. I mean, you just anywhere you could look, you'd see a Cruze Chevy. So we did the thing with the fob and hit the button and beep beep, and we finally found the car. But it was a lot of cars, man, a lot of cars. And it's interesting, out in Los Angeles or in California, you don't change plates. The plate stays with the car forever. So you buy a car with that license plate on it, which kind of freaked me out at first. But yeah, so Skip really helped us out when we went out there, and she's been out there now going on 13 years.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. That reminds me of my daughter thought, apparently, that and this is not the case in Florida, that the license plate stays with the vehicle no matter what. Apparently, she also thought that the little sticker just stays with the car the whole time and never needs to be changed.
Yeah.
So that's another one of the many solutions, many problems that we are solving. But yeah, that's amazing. And Skip, 2 stories there about Chevy Spark, Chevy Cruze, and I know we've talked about this before, but those are great vehicles. But it just seems like cars just aren't, that type of traditional vehicle is just not popular anymore, because neither one of those lines are still in production.
Yeah, it just got harder and harder for the corporations to make money on passenger cars with production costs, and everything was being built overseas and out of the country, and still the margins are just so small. And they looked at what was happening in the trends, and people were buying less cars and more crossovers. Yeah. Because if you look at it, you look at something like a Trax or a Equinox, those are, or a Trailblazer, Chevrolet's smaller ones. Okay. Well, why didn't people want those in the first place? Well, because they didn't want to spend more money, and they didn't want less gas mileage. But most people kind of prefer a little bit higher ride. And so they'd always say, oh, man, I wish I could afford that. I wish I could afford a Jeep Grand Cherokee. I wish I could afford a Ford Escape, whatever they might be. Well, all of a sudden, the technology is such that our Equinox, everything I just mentioned on the Chevy side is over 30 miles per gallon.
Wow.
So you're not giving up anything to get into a crossover, and they're the same cost. I mean, there's still vehicles out there that are cars. Some of them brands, especially the imports that are built overseas, they still make cars. Well, guess what? The Trax is less expensive than any of them, and it's a crossover. So those two objections to buying crossovers are no longer there. So the fastest growing markets, the last 10 years, the fastest growing segments have all been crossover markets. Small, compact, and mid-size crossover or SUV. They've all been growing every year, and all the car segments have been shrinking every year to the point where now that Ford and Chrysler and Chevy don't even make cars. I mean, it's just a fraction of what's sold in the country is cars. Everything else is crossovers or trucks. That's just how it's going. I mean, we loved it. We were the number one cruise selling market in the country.
Yeah,
was St. Louis, mainly because we had 3 stores that were selling them cheaper than anybody else in the country. You know, my 3 stores. But you know, so to lose that was horrible. But you know, when Chevy can't make any money on it, and they're having to get them from out of the country, and it was good insight because we see now what's happening with tariffs and all that other. This was all made before. These decisions were all made before that, but it's still pretty good insight to say, hey, let's try to build as much inside the country as we can anyway.
So what now is that entry level vehicle? Because in the past it's been those little cars like the Cavalier or the Spark.
It's the Trax.
That's what
the Trax.
Yeah.
Because the Trax is the least expensive, the lowest price vehicle, not lowest price crossover, but lowest price vehicle that you can buy in the country is the Chevy Trax.
Wow.
So
that's amazing because Trax are awesome. My mom drives the Trax. I know several people. They are an awesome vehicle. They don't feel like that small entry level.
Your mom has a little bit higher price Trax than the base.
Right.
But even the base is pretty loaded. So your mom doesn't have the cheapest vehicle. She's got some other stuff on it, bells and whistles. I think she might even have an all-wheel drive. Front-wheel drive is the cheaper one. But whatever the case, there's a big wide spectrum on that. Okay, so that's the deal. That's part of the reason is that you can deck it up. But even a base has a lot of good stuff on it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. I mean, we can't keep them on the lot. We cannot keep Trax on the lot. As soon as we get them, they're all gone.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Most people that buy them from us have their names on them to be called when they come in.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's awesome. And you mentioned the gas mileage. That was one thing that I was shocked about driving that Spark back from Florida. That it was the same amount of stops. It's usually 2 or 3 stops when we make that drive. Same amount of stops, and I'm used to putting $50 at least into the gas tank every stop, and it's like $25 and it's full, and it's like you're looking at it like that can't be right.
Yeah.
That's all we get
when you get 40 miles a gallon.
Exactly.
But you got a tiny
that
tank,
was pretty awesome.
It'd be great if you had the same size tank as the other big cars. Then you could do almost like one stop, but you got a little tiny tank in that small car, so you got to stop. But yeah, it doesn't cost much to fill it up. Yeah,
no, that was
we
definitely
always like those. Yeah,
huge benefit to that. And I love that dedication to gas mileage that Chevy has, and just going in that direction. Speaking of the gas pump, I had a personal experience. For once, I'm not looking at some social media trend or story, although I do have some of that we'll get to here in a minute. But I witnessed this unfold recently, and I thought this is a perfect conversation for Mark and Skip. This is Closest Cabinet on Colombo Company, talking to Mark Close from KC95 and Skip Weber from Weber Chevrolet. Marker, your thoughts first. Is it okay to park at a gas pump when you go to the gas station if you're not getting gas? If you're just going in to get snacks and the soda or whatever, is it okay to park at one of the pumps, or is it mandatory for you to park in a regular parking spot?
I would go to a parking spot. I don't know if there's rules and regulations and stuff, because if you're in front of a pump, you're not, and if you're not gassing up, you might be keeping somebody else from getting to that pump. But I always pull up somewhere away from it. And even sometimes if I do pull up and I buy gas and with a credit card, and then I want to go inside and get a soda, I'll usually move my car out of the way even after that. So if someone wants to come up behind me, then they can get gas. And I'm not eating up real estate, so to speak. So
that was kind of going to be my next question, but I definitely don't go to that level. And what I saw, Skip, what I witnessed was a big truck, and it wasn't that all the pumps were taken. It was the pump at the end, and it was this guy in a big truck, and he had a trailer, he was pulling something, and a person had stopped at the end pump at a gas station and was walking in, and this guy like pulls up and says, like, as they're walking in and like out the window says, "Hey, excuse me. If you're not getting gas, do you mind moving your car so I can get gas here, because I can't get this vehicle in anywhere?" And the other person went back to their car and moved it for them. I thought, that was very nice. But that was when this whole conversation occurred to me. Like, was that person out of line for parking at the pump and going in and taking that spot? What do you think, Skip?
So, quick question again.
Yes.
The guy who was parked there initially was not in the big trailer.
No. The big trailer pulled up, wanted the end spot.
To me, total jerk.
Yeah.
Not a total jerk, but to me, that's wrong.
Yeah.
I totally appreciate the way Mark does it, but I will say that when I do it, I don't always
get gas.
Move after I fill the gas.
Oh yeah, no, I never move after I get the gas.
Most of the time that I'm going inside to get something, I very rarely go inside to get something at the gas station, except when we're driving to and back and forth Tennessee or somewhere else, but the Tennessee thing. So a lot of the times we have our dogs, and so I'll start the pump going. I'll walk the dogs. Lori goes inside. I'll come back, put the dogs back in, turn the pump off, and move the truck out of the way and go inside. If I've done that, if it's that long of a deal. But if we don't have the dogs or I'm not walking them or whatever, and I am getting a soda, I run in while the pump's going and do all that, use the restroom or whatever while the pump's going and come back out. But the way Mark is with that is way better than the way that other guy is.
Yeah.
If you're not getting gas, you shouldn't be parking in front of the pumps.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they're all taken, because gas caps are on the different sides of cars. So let's say there's two of them open, but they're both the left side, and some guy with the right side comes up, and now he's got to circle around and go between the building and the thing and try to line it up better and come back in or back it in or whatever, because you've decided to park in one of the things instead of parking in the parking space.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But
does bother me.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Don't park at the pump unless you're getting gas. But I definitely sometimes I go in first, sometimes I pump gas first, but I don't move my vehicle. I pump the gas and then I go in and then I come back out. So maybe if you didn't see me pump the gas, you may think that I was breaking the etiquette rules there. But no, I don't go through. I don't do that. But I thought it was. I had never seen that before. Somebody asked somebody to move their vehicle, like, "Hey, you're not getting gas. Can you just move your car for me, please?" It was. I thought to myself, is this something that is this an issue that people are dealing with? So that, and like I said, I also have this story from the internet. Today is National Punctuation Day, and it won't be, I think, any surprise to anybody that using punctuation is something that is less and less is something that people do less and less on a daily basis, and it's one of the things that drives me crazy, Mark. On text messaging, I get like the short messages, and I try to do that stuff too. But when there's no periods, when there's no capitalization, when there's no commas, and it's just one long thing, that drives me nuts. What do you think?
Guilty. My big old fat Fred Flintstone fingers. When I'm trying to send a text, honest to God,
Nope.
it takes 20 minutes for me to say, how are you? I mean, I'm terrible. So the punctuation, I figure I'm safe.
No question mark at the end of that. No question mark at the end of that.
Yeah, question mark, comma. I figure I'm saving the other person time. I mean, it's like I'm typing out the Magna Carta. I'm taking forever to get anywhere. And it's like, let me get to the point. I'd much rather talk on the phone than do text. And I know that's kind of the opposite of what people are doing. But I mean, it is a phone, and I can get to the point faster. You can tell which direction I'm going at. Sometimes with the text, punctuation and all, you can't get the feel of the person.
Mm-hmm.
Usually when they're on the phone, you kind of know which direction they're coming from by the way their voice sounds. I believe anyway, but I know that lack of punctuation, it bothers some people and stuff, but I'm trying to save people time. It'll take me ever to get around to it. So.
I can't do it, Skip. I can't do it. I have to put a period, and I still double space, which is apparently not what you're supposed to do anymore either. I have to put in at least the basics. I'm not like, Mr. Grammar, but I have to have to do it.
I hate to say this, but I am Mr. Grammar. I don't correct other people's.
Right.
Mine has to be right.
Mm-hmm.
I have to do it. I have to capitalize right. I use dashes, colons, semicolons, commas, periods, double space after a period. I have to do that. I mean, my original first job out of college, I did nothing but typing. I was programming stuff, and I got very good at typing without looking, and that's not the same as when you're on the phone, obviously, but I just always liked my stuff to be right and accurate. And when you're coding, it has to be. You have to have everything exactly in the right spot. And so it just got ingrained in me, and it doesn't bother me in the slightest to read someone else's stuff. I don't hardly even notice it if it's not done.
It's funny
when I'm typing it,
Go ahead.
But when I'm typing it, I have to do it that right way, or I just feel like I did it wrong.
I totally agree. And it's funny that you mentioned semicolons and colons, because in this, they actually did a survey of the punctuation that is the least used by people, and semicolons was number one on the list, with 60% of people saying that they never use a semicolon. Colons were the second least used at 55% never used. Dashes, hyphens, and parentheses are the top five. Obviously, commas and question marks and periods and exclamation points are still, even though 21% of people say they don't use question marks, and 40% of people say they don't use exclamation points. So even the basics are falling off. But I don't even think people know the appropriate time to use a semicolon anymore, let alone ever think about using it. So
yeah, who knows? I don't know. It's like I said, it doesn't bother me. I'm not the grammar Nazi about it, but I'm totally Mr. Punctuation when I'm doing it. I can't help it.
Yep, I totally agree.
And I always liked that stuff. I always liked English class. I mean, I'm probably the weirdest person on the planet. I liked English class, so I liked learning when to use that kind of stuff, when to use colons and semicolons, and I do all that, and that's how I do it, and so I want to do it right.
And lastly, yesterday was National Ice Cream Day. Mark, what is your favorite type of cone? Ice cream cone.
I mean the waffle cone, depending on, especially where they cook them up fresh and you can smell it. And then you put that. I mean, you gotta refinance your house to buy one. They're not cheap, but I do love them. The ones that was those when we were kids, those kind of white ones, kind of tan things that you got like 500 of them for like a nickel. Those terrible things are brutal. and then the cone that would come like the pointed one, whatever that one is. That a sugar cone, maybe?
I think so.
I like those too, but
yeah,
if I get a waffle cone, baby, I'm a happy camper.
Waffle cone, according to this survey, is number one with a bullet, and I completely agree. Skip, waffle cone, sugar cone. What's your?
Oh man, I'm the weird one again. Then I'm a cake cone guy.
You know what? It said, 8% of people prefer cake cones. What is a cake cone? I don't know what that is.
The cake cone is the one with the flat bottom. It's like it's like a pale beige or whatever. It's a flat bottom
yellow.
cone.
Yes,
and it's it's just like a wafer type thing. It's lighter than the waffle cone by far. It's
just a regular cone. Okay,
yeah,
it's the standard cone. I see it now. It's just
the sugar cone. The sugar cone is the one with the pointed end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And the cake cone is the one with the flat bottom. That's the Baskin Robbins way. Now, lots of other places may have different stuff, but I always like the cake cone, and it's because I like to eat it better. I mean, it doesn't hold the ice cream better or anything like that. But when you're eating the cone after doing all the ice cream, I like.
Well, that's why I like the waffle cone, because I like to to eat the waffle cone afterwards. I see it now. Cake cone. To me, that was just regular cone. That's like standard cone to me. I didn't know that they were technically cake cones. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
boys.
And
Before
again,
go ahead, Marker.
Waffle cone invented here in St. Louis at the 1904 World's Fair.
There you go. Little history lesson.
Ice cream runs out of cake cones. Thank God. It took a waffle and you're making that and threw the ice cream, and that became like the ice cream cone out of the 1904 World's Fair.
Yeah, and you know why though? You know why though, right?
No, tell us.
They were actually scones, okay, and they were hot. It was the vendor. They made them and they were hot. And it's 100 degrees St. Louis weather, and nobody was buying them. And the ice cream vendor next door to them ran out of bowls, and they put their heads together.
Used them.
There you go.
He took the scones and rolled them up, and they sold the ice cream in the scones, and that was it.
Boom, love it. Before we wrap things up, Marker, what's going on with KC95 and the band? Anything to promote? Anything to tell the people about?
We'll be out this Saturday. We're going to be out at the Dog Prairie, which is out in St. Paul. We have such a good time out there. The weather is going to be unbelievable. We're going to be outside in the beer garden. We play 3 to 6. There's no cover charge. Great food, great drinks. We just have a big old party, and it's located right on St. Paul Road, which is in St. Paul, Missouri, which is right up by O'Fallon. And we'll be there Saturday from 3 to 6. So come out and rock and or roll with us.
And Skip, other than the Creve Corps Service Department having to put my daughter's car back together, what is happening at Weber?
Well, I just got a call from them, and they've called in extra technicians to work on it.
It's like Humpty Dumpty. All the King's horses and all the King's men.
Yeah, no, everything's going great, man. This has been truck month at both Chevy and Ford stores, and it's been rolling right along. And I don't really have anything out of the ordinary. We're having a great month. We continue to be the best reviewed store, Chevy dealer in St. Louis, or many hundreds of miles surrounding area, and that just goes to show why I'm happy about our sales, because treating people right. Everybody takes care of stuff. I get very few complaints get up to me, and sales are good. So what am I worried about? I'm just cruising along and enjoying life.
Great stuff. And of course, check out Weber Chevrolet and Weber Ford out in Granite City, the entire Weber Automotive Group. And Mark Close from KC95, Skip Weber from Weber Chevrolet. Thank you guys so much, as always, and look forward to talking to you again very soon. Have a great rest of your day, boys.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. All right. Before we get out of here and hand things off to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show, got a couple more things I want to get you up to speed on, including the latest excuses from Kamala Harris. The excuse tour continues. We'll fill you in on that and more next.
Follow Tony Colombo on Twitter at Tony Colombo Talk. News, analysis,
I'm glad you're talking about this.
Opinion.
I'm glad you're fired up about it, too, because I know I am.
News Talk STL.
New Creation Dental Care and Dr. Matt Boscia have been providing the Colombo family dental needs for years. And I cannot recommend Dr. Boscia enough if you're looking for a new dentist for you and your family. Of course, they can handle all of the basics dental services for you, but also the more advanced procedures can get done right there in the office at New Creation Dental Care, including the all-on-4 full arch implant procedure, which could be a life changer for somebody that has suffered with damaged teeth or missing teeth or poor fitting dentures for a long time, because the all-on-4 procedure is full mouth restoration that can give you back your smile in as little as 1 day. And again, it's right there in the office with the team that you already have a relationship that you know and trust. It's not corporate dentistry at New Creation Dental Care. You get to know Dr. Boscia, you get to know the staff there, and basically all of your dental needs, from the simple to the complicated, can be taken care of right there in the office. Go check out some amazing smile makeovers and learn all about the all-on-4 procedure. Plus, see everything else that Dr. Boscia can do for you and your family right now by going to newcreationdentalcare.com.
John Beal knows that right after a hailstorm, new roofing companies start popping up everywhere. But the Small Business Administration reports 96% of them go out of business within the first 5 years. So how good is that warranty? John Beal started in the roofing business, helping his granddad and his dad. Always offering the best roof, best price, best guarantee. John Beal Roofing, not some fly-by-the-night operation. Call my friend John, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
So be honest now. Be honest, did you watch Jimmy Kimmel's return to air last night? Oh, you were going to, but you couldn't find it. Your station is among those not carrying the Kimmel Show? So bad. So sad. Let's make some points clear. When Sinclair Broadcast Group and Nexstar pulled Kimmel, it was not a violation of his free speech. It was because their affiliates, audiences, and sponsors made it clear they did not want the Kimmel Show. That's because Kimmel had claimed Charlie Kirk's killer was a member of the conservatives. False and outrageous. Kimmel could say what he wanted, but the stations were not going to give him their platform. That is free enterprise. You have free speech and you have free enterprise. I will also add that the FCC chairman should not have made a veiled threat that the stations could lose their licenses if they didn't deal with Charlie Kirk. This was not an FCC issue. This, again, was free enterprise, an audience issue. If Kimmel gets back on the air everywhere, the audience will determine if he stays. Give you a hint? Not likely.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
You've worked hard for your money, so protect it. Meet my friend Bob Leslie and ask about the Gain and Retain plan. Leslie Consulting, 40 years in the St. Louis area as a leader in brokerage and risk management. Call 314-721-0066, 721-0066. Oh, and ask Bob how he was the LA Dodger #1 pick. LeslieConsulting.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Here's great news. Napoli Kirkwood is now open. So that means fine dining right in the heart of Kirkwood. So you have the original Cafe Napoli in downtown Clayton, Napoli 2, Town and Country, Napoli 3 on the streets of St. Charles, right next door to Napoli C, plus Napoli Brothers Pasta and Pizza in the Chesterfield Valley. All of those locations, and now adding Napoli Kirkwood. what a great place to dine. Napoli, Kirkwood, now open.
Attention off-road enthusiasts. Iron Bear Customs has the strongest bumpers on the planet. Plus, brush guards, lift kits, and custom cages for all vehicles. Visit ironbearcustoms.com and mention Newstalk STL for 10% off. Iron Bear Customs, built tough for the toughest terrain.
Discover Patriot Powder Coating, your family on specialist in Pacific. From small jobs to big projects, we got you covered. Visit our showroom or call 636-551-0377. Mention Newstalk STL for 10% off.
Craving the freshest in town? Anthony's Produce is your daily destination for nature's finest. For 28 years, we've been your trusted supplier for everything seasonal. It's homegrown apple season. Choose from many local varieties. Grab some caramel dip or try our made-in-house gourmet caramel apples. Fall decorating? We've got Hardy Mums, corn stalks, straw bales, pumpkins, gourds, Indian corn, and jumbo specialty pumpkins. Perfect for carving or pies. Plus seasoned firewood available for pickup or delivery. Open Monday through Saturday, 7 to 6:30 and Sundays, 8 to 5 on Jungerman Road or at anthonysproduce.com.
Yes, it's been really hot and humid, but fall and winter right around the corner. Tim Jones here to tell you, time to get a hold of Chad Hansen and the gang at Hansen's Tree Service for your home or your business. Grinding, land clearing, green waste recycling, tree consulting, removal, or pruning. The organic mulch from Hansen's a wonderful addition to beautify and spruce up all your landscape beds. They offer substantial volume discounts for bulk orders and emergency tree removal. Just go to hansenstree.com. That's hansenstree.com.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Went super long there with Mark and Skip. So quickly, one more quick update to get to here before we hand things off to Tim Jones and Chris Arb's show. Another day, another excuse from Kamala Harris. Her new book is full of all the great content that I knew it would be, as she continues to blame every single person on earth for losing the election rather than taking any accountability for herself. She's on The View yesterday, and she said that the biggest reason that she lost is she just didn't have enough time. People just didn't know her yet, even though she'd been vice president, for 4 years. Nobody knew her, and nobody knew her platform. And had she been able to, communicate to the people, she would have definitely won. She also made the claim that the election was the closest presidential race in the 21st century, which is a massive stretch. Because in the year 2000, that race was closer both by percentage gap and electorally, and many elections have been closer electorally than 2024 since then. But again, she's just got to make all of the excuses, and I'm sure there is more to come. All right, we'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. In the meantime, keep it here for the O'Reilly Report next, then the Tim Jones and Chris Arp Show. Thank you so much for listening to us and supporting us here at 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For 20 years, Harpo's Chesterfield has been the heart of West County's fun, with our award-winning patio, voted best in West County, and excellent sports bar atmosphere. Our mouth-watering menu has made us famous throughout St. Louis. Plus, we've got great drink specials and the friendliest, most energetic staff around. Whether you're dining in or carrying out, Harpo's delivers fun, food, and drinks like no one else. Harpo's